presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Fox Sports. We are St. Louis.
This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball, and Cardinals baseball is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. The season series between the Cardinals and the Reds wraps up tonight. It's game number 4 from downtown St. Louis and Busch Stadium. The wild card race, a couple of teams lose last night. The Cardinals do not lose ground on San Francisco. They are 1 game back of the Giants, and you see New York firmly ahead, a game and a half in front of San Francisco. What's on tap presented by Budweiser. Johnny Cueto going tonight as they wrap up their series with Colorado. Tomorrow night, Madison Bumgarner against the LA Dodgers. Meanwhile, for the Cardinals, Alex Reyes going this evening, and Carlos Martinez game 1 against Pittsburgh tomorrow night. Jim Hayes is here. So is Rick Gordon. I'm Dan McLaughlin. Welcome to St. Louis Cardinals baseball. And again, Ricky, another huge game here tonight.
And a huge game for Alex Reyes, who is pitching very well as a rookie, 4-1. A huge game for him. But the real key to this game is going to be the Cardinals' ability to get the big hit. Yesterday, the reason the Cardinals came up short was they were 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position.
We'll see if that changes tonight. Dan Straley gets the call for the Reds. He's had a solid year. And for the Cardinals, their young flamethrower, Alex Reyes. Starting lineups. First pitch coming up on Fox Sports Midwest.
Brought to you by T-Mobile. Let's look at the National League awards. We'll start with the MVP race. Plenty of good candidates. In fact, 2 of them in Chicago. Nolan Arenado having a big season. But I'm going to go with Daniel Murphy, who's hitting .347, might lead the National League in hitting for the Nationals. Looking at the National League Cy Young race. Again, a couple of Cubs on the list. Lester and Hendricks. Noah Syndergaard, the plus fastball for the Mets. And St. Louis and Max Scherzer at 19 and 7. John Lester, my choice. He's 19 and 4. Hard to beat that. As we turn to the National League Rookie of the Year race, plenty of good shortstops in baseball. The Cardinals have one of them in Aledmys Diaz. Trevor Story got hurt. Otherwise, he might be the choice. Kenta Maeda, a terrific record as a starter for the Dodgers, but I'm going to go with Corey Seager, who's closing in on a 200-hit season as a rookie. The Cardinals hoping to find the big hit in the final game against the Cincinnati Reds. It's Cardinals baseball next on Fox Sports Midwest.
For you by Chevrolet. Visit your local Mid-America Chevy dealer for great prices on the all-new 2016 Malibu. And by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. The Plaza of Champions just outside the ballpark, and along with Jim Hayes and Rick Horton, I'm Dan McLaughlin. 65 degrees. Who's sprinkling a light rain about 15 minutes ago, and hopefully that stays away and we'll get this ball game in, which we should. There's a look at Jose Peraza, one of the top rookies in baseball, followed by Hernan Iribarren, then Joey Votto, Adam Duvall, Eugenio Suarez, Ivan De Jesus Jr., Tucker Barnhart, Tony Renda, and Dan Straley, hitting .020 this year, but he does have 11 sacrifices. And for the Cardinals, it is start number 5 for Alex Reyes.
Yeah, just 5 starts in a very new big league career for Alex Reyes, but he has become a centerpiece of this Cardinals rotation.
And the first pitch is popped up into shallow right. Racing after it, Jerko. It'll be, though, Piscotty in foul territory making the catch. The Cardinals defensively tonight, Jose Martinez the start in left, Brandon Moss on the bench, Randall Grichuk in center, Piscotty in right field. Then Peralta, Diaz, Jerko, and Carpenter along the infield, And Yadier Molina is behind the plate. Hernan Iribarren, left-handed batter, hitting .353. And as you look at a key for Alex Reyes, what is it for you tonight?
I think keeping the pitch count down, which of course a first pitch out to Peraza is going to help in that. But if Reyes can get through 6 innings, I think that's plenty. He's a guy that's going to throw a lot of pitches because he gets a lot of swings and misses. His stuff is so good, you just really can't imagine him getting beat around. He's got the plus fastball, and he's using his changeup quite a bit, 24% of the time, lately even higher than that.
That's a look at your Hyundai pitch arsenal. 3 balls, 1 strike on Iribarren, who won the International Batting League Championship, the second Red to do that. The other was Norris Hopper all the way back in 2006. And a ground ball hit to the right side. Taken there by Jerko. 2 down.
Reyes hasn't seemed phased at all by the attention, by the responsibility that's been put on his shoulders. If the Cardinals are able to finish well, just 4 games to go, I would say Mike Matheny, Derek Lilliquist are going to have to think long and hard about what starter they have that's better than him. Say Carlos Martinez, that would be a choice, but I think Reyes is probably their second best starter at the moment.
Here's Joey Votto hitting .404 in the second half. He was 0 for 5 last night. Here's a 1-0. Changeup taken high. Leads the National League in on-base percentage at .433. And he leads it by a wide margin. The next closest is DJ LeMahieu at .418 in on-base percentage. 2 balls, no strikes. That pitch misses in.
This is how the Cardinals got him out 5 times yesterday. They got behind in the count, got him over anxious, and he got himself out.
Hard to imagine.
Yeah, I'm not sure that's a good plan generally.
Calling the balls and strikes, the crew chief, Bill Miller, Tony Randazzo at first, Brian Knight at second, Scott Berry is down at third. 3-1 is pulled foul. Does Reyes remind you of anybody? Anybody come to mind immediately when you think of him? I've been trying to think about this.
I'd have to think about it. There's not, you know, he's got just a very big, strong body approach to pitching. Very simple delivery, just gets it and goes and throws downhill very well.
That was a changeup, Adam out in front, and a ground out, and a 1-2-3 inning for Alex Reyes. Cardinals coming up in the home half of the first. Beat the Brewers in his last start. 1 run in 6 2/3. Matt Carpenter leads it off for the Cardinals, hitting .268, followed by Randall Grichuk and Yadier Molina. Steven Piscotty, Johnny Peralta, Jed Jerko, Aledmus Diaz, Jose Martinez, and Alex Reyes. So Straley very good this year. His last 5 starts, 4-1 with a 2.87 ERA.
Odd splits where he's actually pitched better at home than on the road, and I say that's odd because his home park is Great American Ballpark. Tough to pitch in. 8-1 at home with an ERA under 3, but on the road he's gotten beat around a little bit more, but he's really had a terrific developmental year in his career. He was available for anybody months ago, and now he's a 14-game winner.
Here's a 1-0 pitch. Carpenter with a fly ball out to left. Adam Duvall under it. 1 away. Around the Horn is presented by Dobbs. Duvall in left, Iribarren in center, Tony Renda is in right. Suarez, Peraza, De Jesus, and Votto on the infield, and Tucker Barnhart is behind the plate. Randal Grichuk digs in with 24 home runs. He's driven in 66 and hitting .242. Grichuk a home run in game 2 of this series. Ricky, a telling stat with Dan Straley, and here's a club that really has struggled this year. The Reds are 20-10 when he starts, 47-81 when he doesn't. And there's a base hit at the left.
Good at bat for Grichuk. Jumps on the first pitch he thinks he can handle. Inner half. Straley's not an overpowering pitcher. He's going to throw low 90s. And oddly, he's a guy that likes to get outs up in the strike zone. Contrary to most pitchers, he throws that ball that jumps a little bit, about belt high, tries to get you to pop it up.
Little bigger lead than normal for Grichuk as Molina on the first pitch hits it in the air to right field. Tony Renda near the line and in fair territory makes the catch. Grichuk back to the bag at first.
And the Straley style right on cue. A fastball up, had a little bit of rise to it, a little hop to it, and Molina gets underneath it and pops it up.
So 2 outs, runner at first, and it brings in Stephen Piscotty. 4 for 9 with a triple, couple of runs scored in this series. This particular series against the Reds, with everything on the line, has been one extreme or the other.
I'll say.
Worst game of the year, game 1. One of the best moments in games of the year in game 2. I would say the most frustrating game last night.
Well, it was only frustrating because of the result. All the way through the game yesterday, it was a tight game, a well-played game, but as the 0 for 8 and runners in scoring position started to pile up, the frustration grew. Mike Leake had a very good start, gave up just a couple of runs on a broken bat hit, no less. Cardinals bullpen put up a bunch of zeros. He just couldn't get the big hit.
Check on Randal Grichuk at first base. He has 5 steals. Last 8 games, Cardinals have been up and down. It's the BJC Healthcare difference maker, and a look at the runs scored. When they win, they score in bunches.
So the average runs very good, but
that's pulled, and what a play by Suarez. Long throw, and it gets away. It stays in play. Grichuk to third, and he'll stop there. Outstanding first portion of the play by Suarez, who has committed 22 errors this year, and a good majority of those have come throwing the baseball to first base.
Cardinals could have used one of those throws yesterday. Thought we had a couple of them, but good backhand play, and then the throw is just in the dirt. Should be an error. I believe I just heard them score that a base hit. Grichuk picks up the ball getting away. Thinks about more than 3, but has to stop there.
And while it's been frustrating for the Cardinals offensively, one player that's picked it up here recently has been Johnny Peralta. Runners at first and third. Let's turn to Rick's Toyota keys to the game.
Well, we've talked about it, mentioned it already. The ability to hit with runners in scoring position, have success with that, will carry the Cardinals a long way, not just for this game, but as many games as they have left on their schedule and beyond. And we don't know what that is yet. Cardinals trailing by San Francisco by a game. You have to get hot in those situations to carry a team forward. Be a nice night to start.
Peralta with 6 hits in this series, 6 for 11. Runners at first and third. Later tonight at AT&T Park in San Francisco, Colorado and the San Francisco Giants. John Gray against Johnny Cueto. Cueto had to sit out his last start. He's dealt with a leg issue, and we'll see if that's an issue at all tonight for the right-hander. All kinds of room on the right side of the infield. 1-2 the count on Johnny Peralta. The Giants have dropped 7 of 11. And in their last 7 losses, they've scored a total of 11 runs.
Yeah, their offense is down. And we saw that some in San Francisco. That was not really the best part of their game. We know their bullpen struggles. Cardinals just have to take care of business here against Cincinnati and then Pittsburgh.
Pirates in town tomorrow night. The final weekend series of the year. 2-2 the count on Johnny Peralta. And he struck him out. Cardinals will strand 2 in the bottom of the first. We played 1 from Busch Stadium, and there's no score. And let's check in with our very own Jim Hayes.
Danny, Alex Reyes has impressed a lot of people with his stuff, obviously, but also with the way he carries himself. Mike Matheny told me Alex never overwhelmed, no matter what situation we put him in. He embraces it. That's just who he is. Mike says Reyes has also remained humble. He said a kid with the hype and expectations surrounding him like that, and to be that humble, you just don't see it. Mike told me the minor league coaches have a program to support young players as people. One of the tools is getting feedback from teammates. Mike said every one of the comments about Reyes used the word humble. He said they also mentioned he throws 100 miles an hour, but mostly they focused on how Alex treats people and how humble he is. And Dan, we've seen that ourselves. That is a very humble young man.
Yeah, very much so. There's a double by Adam Duvall out to left on a breaking ball, and Rick and I had the pleasure in spring training to talk to the minor leaguers, the top ones, and then all the minor leaguers. And certainly we enjoyed that, talking about dealing with the media and some of the people that you'll see when you come up. And Alex Reyes, the minute that he saw us, came over, shook our hand, big smile. How you guys doing?
Yep.
What's been going on? Been watching you, watching the team. Very likable young man. Fastball and a strike to Eugenio Suarez.
Always felt in this game that it was easy to be humble when you're an average player or below, but very difficult to be a humble player when you're the man. And every place he's played, he's been the man.
Top prospect in the Cardinals organization, and that's a strike. And most recently listed as the #2 overall prospect in all of baseball. And of course, in the futures game, made the start.
Cardinals quiz question for you, Danny.
Yes, sir.
Who did Alex Reyes throw his first big league curveball to? And what happened?
I believe it was Duvall as that scoots away from Yadier Molina. And it was the night that he made his debut. He threw 101. And then he broke off a breaking ball, and I heard the oohs and ahs. And what happened? It was a knee buckler. Am I right?
Duvall, about you get 100 on the test as always. And it was a knee buckler, and the pitch that Duvall hit to left was a curveball. So you talk about players making adjustments at this level. That's a pretty fast adjustment.
It's a passed ball. And there's a check swing again. Did he go? No. I asked you the question who he reminds you of, and we were talking during the break, and I said Livan Hernandez. You said Jose De Leon.
Yeah, I played with Jose when he was younger. Actually traded for him at one point, but when Jose was young and just had a terrific arm, very similar body type and delivery.
Struck him out. First strikeout for Alex Reyes tonight. The tougher the situation, the better he gets. Always the sign of a guy that you'd like to think is in command, not necessarily in the strike zone, but in the game.
I love that picture of him too. Look how compact everything is there. He's really together, and that's again the sign of a power pitcher. And not only is he a power pitcher, but he performs very well in pressure moments, and we have one here.
So now the infield is drawn in by the Cardinals, and here's Ivan De Jesus. Popped up. This is Carpenter, and Reyes will be 1 out away from pitching out of this jam. What that stat told me in that graphic is that as it gets tougher, he gets better, and the numbers are better, but you have to have good stuff to do that.
No question.
And he's got it.
And you also, I mean, the good stuff is part of it, but you also have to not pitch scared. And there are guys who have great stuff, and I've seen them over the years, that still pitch scared.
The fastball and a strike to Tucker Barnhart, switch hitting catcher. Last night it was Ramon Cabrera, and Barnhart back in the starting lineup. This is a team that tonight is without Brandon Phillips, been dealing with a sore left hand, and without Billy Hamilton. You think about this time last year, some of the big players that they had no longer with the Cincinnati Reds, and also without Devin Mesoraco, and a base hit with 2 outs. So Barnhart drives in his 49th. That brings in Duvall, and again the Cardinals fall behind in all 4 games of this series. It's now 1-0 Cincinnati.
So close to getting out of a situation with a runner at third and nobody out, and the location to Barnhart, the catcher, who's had a good series, up and away, able to drop the bat head on it, looping liner to right.
8th place hitter Tony Renda. He's in right field tonight. And one of the key plays in this inning, a pass ball charged to Yadier Molina. His 143rd game behind home plate. That's the most since Tony Pena back in 1988. Here's the 0-1 pitch. It's a family affair tonight for the Molinas. Benji is here tonight. It is a doubleheader of sorts. Spanish speaking broadcast tonight and again tomorrow. And Benji working as the color analyst on radio.
Someone hits a home run, and there will be some home runs in the next 2 days. I wonder if they will say adios pelota, which seems to be your new catchphrase.
It's a great call.
I thought
it's catching. It's catching throughout the country.
There's Benji on the right.
The 2-1. Popped up to the right side. Long way to go for Jerko and Piscotty and Carpenter, and it drops in foul.
I thought it was impressive you used the 2 words that you know in Spanish back to back, and it worked.
Now, I'm going to take that as a shot at me. And I think it's a little hurtful.
Well, you'll get over it.
And because of that, I'm going to ask you to take off your headset here for the final out, and I'll let you come back in the third. Put your headset back on. Here's a 2-2 pitch. And he struck him out looking. Bill Miller, the home plate umpire, punched him out. A strikeout for Reyes. 1-0 midway through 2. As Jed Jerko leads it off here in the bottom of the second, followed by Ledmes Diaz and then Jose Martinez. Jerko is sat a little bit here in the final week. He cooled off. His average at 238, but the power numbers have been sensational this year. 27 home runs, and he's driven in 55. And a fastball is taken outside. Straley was a part of the big deal with the Oakland A's and Chicago Cubs, in which the Cubs picked up Addison Russell. Then traded to Houston. Luis Valbuena was part of that deal. And then at one point, as you talked about, he was cut loose and anybody could have gotten him. And he wound up with the Cincinnati Reds. This sport, unlike any other sport, when you say it takes a guy a while to figure it out, it does apply to so many players.
So how important are the scouts and the on-field personnel looking for the diamond in the rough, including...
This game could be tied at the track, at the wall. Goodbye! Long home run. Jed Jerko, number 28. We're tied 1-1.
There's your team leader in home runs, Jed Jerko with number 28. The embrace from Carlos. And the pitch location. Middle of the plate. Adios, pelota.
I almost did it.
I was about to say about players that could have been picked up by anybody before I was rudely interrupted by that home run by
Rudely,
Jerko.
but happily.
Rudely but happily. The big swing, the long swing from Jerko. He can hit a fastball, can't he?
Oh, man.
But Aledmys Diaz is one of those guys that if any team would have thought about Diaz and said, you know what, this guy's worth taking a shot at, they could have had him a year ago.
And a lot of fans are saying, well, then why not? And the reason would be is that he was in year 2 of a contract that paid him around $8 million. So you're saying, okay, well, if the Cardinals are willing to say goodbye, why do we want him?
Well, and that's where you have to, again, as a scout or as a on-field personnel who's seen him play and thinks, you know what, I see a potential here. Clearly he had it.
3 balls, 2 strikes, and Diaz pops it back and foul. I remember when the Cardinals signed him and they brought him to spring training and he made a start and went 2 for 2 against a very good pitcher, and that pitcher I believe may have been Jose Fernandez. And you thought, well, okay, looks pretty good. He had a couple of ground balls hit to him, looks solid, but then the numbers just didn't compute in the minor leagues. And now Diaz draws a walk. The distance of the Jerko home run, 456 feet.
Wow.
And that's got to be a top 10 this year, I would think.
Bet it is. Well, it has to be. We talked about the ball carrying well in this series in the early going. I think that's still true, but Jerko gave that one a ride.
Last home run at Busch Stadium for Jed Jerko was over a month ago against the Oakland A's. So it had been a while since he had homered here at home. Well, I don't think anybody disagrees that you had to sit Brandon Moss with his struggles, and I bet if you asked Brandon Moss, he would say, I understand it.
Tough, but
I get it.
Tough, but true.
And a historically bad slump at the worst time for a team that relies on the home run ball, and he's a big part of it. He's been struggling. Straley, by the way, the 10th major league pitcher to allow 30 home runs this year. And Reds pitching has allowed, as they continue to add to their major league record, that's now 252 home runs that they have given up. The previous record was 236 back in 2004. And it's now 3-0 on Jose Martinez.
And to give some context to 252 and just how many that is, the next highest team in the National League is the Phillies, who've given up 210. No one else over 200.
Nobody. Now, if you're to say before the season what teams are going to give up the most home runs, I think your first guess would be, well, the Rockies.
Right.
Playing at that ballpark. I could see the Phillies. I could see Arizona, teams that play in hitter-friendly parks. Certainly the Cincinnati Reds. Their starters are first in home runs allowed. 3-1 pitch. And that's ball 4. So back-to-back walks by Straley. Well, the most popular way to follow the Cardinals this weekend, the #1 app for baseball, MLB.com at bat. Enjoy game day, live game video highlights, StatCast, news, and more. MLB.com at bat on your favorite devices now. Alex Reyes does have one sacrifice this year. I realize from a fan's perspective, this has been an incredibly frustrating season and an incredibly frustrating 2 out of the last 3 nights. However, the Cardinals are in position to get in the playoffs potentially, and many teams aren't.
Not only in position, but you look at the way the Giants are playing, and you and I were asked by a number of people today, what do you really think is going to happen? And, you know, we don't know. No one knows. Mike Matheny doesn't know. The players, I mean, they're going to do their best, but I just have a gut feeling that the Giants and the Cardinals are going to be playing on Monday. I may be wrong, but that's my feeling, because the Giants are struggling offensively with their bullpen, as we mentioned.
And they've got to deal with Clayton Kershaw on Saturday. Kenta Maeda also is scheduled to start in the weekend series. And you know, the Giants and the Dodgers, one of the great rivalries in sports, and LA would love nothing more than to knock them out.
And that is a loveless rivalry. There's a little love in the Cardinals Cubs, don't you think?
Little. Friendlier, I'd say. Reyes can't get the job done, and the Spanish speaking broadcast may have to apologize for Alex. So the home run by Jerko, a walk to Diaz, walk to Martinez, Reyes strikes out, and now it's Matt Carpenter. Second strikeout for Dan Straley. Carpenter flied out to left first time up. Center fielder Iribarren is very deep. And that pitch is taken high for ball 1.
Mentioned that Straley likes to pitch up. He actually enjoys pitching to left-handed batters because of that. You think of lefties as typically low ball hitters, and he likes to get strikes up, which against right-handers could be problematic.
Here's a 1-0. And Ricky, you remember the name of Brett Strom?
I do.
And he was the second pitcher in the history of baseball to have Tommy John surgery. The Cardinals had him in the minor leagues as a coach. He then was the pitching coach in the major league level with the Houston Astros, and he's very much an outside thinker in terms of evaluating pitchers and the game. And these two got together, Straley and Strom, and they're doing some unscientific things with pitchers. Now they evaluate how you throw the baseball. Spin, where you want to throw it. I mean, they're taking a look at everything. Even
delivery, and this pitcher, Straley, really embraced that. The nuances of the game. And he's actually an intense sabermetric guy that understands a lot of the finer points, the details, the numbers of the game, and he is extremely aware of all the numbers of spin on a ball, on break on a curveball, just how much that needs to be, and higher level things that most players don't really think too much about.
The 2-2 spoiled by Carpenter. So the Cardinals have loaded up the left side of their bench. Wong, Adams, Garcia, Moss, Hazelbaker, Brian Pena, switch hitter. Only 3 right-handed batters. And Carpenter is the lone lefty in the lineup for St. Louis tonight.
Jose Martinez seems like he's always on base, doesn't it?
Finds a way. 2-2. And he pulled the string. Changeup, strikes out Carpenter, the second in the inning, and number 3 tonight. Interesting to look at this. Grichuk, Moss, Jerko, A lot of home runs, but you would think with that total of home runs, there'd be more driven in with that.
You think that in all of baseball, there's just 6 guys that have these numbers, and 3 of them are Cardinals, indicative of a lot of solo shots and a lot of maybe lower averages on a team, less guys on base.
Grichuk out in front, grounds it to short, and he is out. He got down the line very quickly. Jed Jerko with one swing of the bat has tied this game up as the Cardinals decline to challenge. And for Jed Jerko, it's home run number 28. That is a team high here in 2016 and a no-doubter. 456 feet. We played 2. We're tied at 1. Dan Straley hitting .020 this year. No homers. He's driven in 1. And good luck against Alex Reyes.
2 for 50.
Ouch.
He's been a good bunter, up among the league leaders in that category, but the contact, a little different story.
So he's the case why many that love this game say,
yep,
all right, he's 2 for 50. Why don't we see the DH used?
It is
by the way, not one of those people.
I understand that, and I understand that question too, but I love the strategy of what to do with Dan Straley if he's got a well-pitched game going on in the 6th inning, and whether or not to let him hit, or should say swing, or go to your bullpen.
St. Louis Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Right stuff, low price every day. And by your local Volkswagen dealer. Along with Jim Hayes and Rick Horton, I'm Dan McLaughlin. We're in St. Louis, Busch Stadium. There's strike 1 to the leadoff man, Jose Peraza. He came in hitting .330. That's the 3rd highest average in Reds history. Well over 100 years of Cincinnati Reds baseball among rookies with at least 200 plate appearances. He's made quite the impression.
Losing all the players you talked about, you didn't mention Jay Bruce either. There was another name that we're used to seeing as in a Reds jersey, Mesoraco, others. It's opened up space for Peraza, and the space initially came in the outfield. They were using him. He's a terrific infielder, but they really didn't have a spot for him, and they just couldn't keep him out of the lineup. And then with Cozart going down to injury, he has a knee problem. he's been in there ever since.
And a base hit into center field. I enjoyed your look at the National League potential winners, the MVP and Rookie of the Year. Peraza will be in that conversation. He will not win the award. That'll go to Corey Seager of the Los Angeles Dodgers.
Well, and let's say this. The conversation is going to be a huge conversation because there's so many talented rookies. I love that. Think of Trevor Story was the story in baseball the first month of the season. His home run prowess.
I think you have to look at Aledmys Diaz right here in St. Louis.
An all-star.
There was even talk that Corey Seager could be the MVP at one point. Cardinals pitch out. They guess right. Throw to second and got him. Peraza gunned down by Molina. In this series, the Reds had been 6 for 7 in stolen bases.
And they're going to want to look at that perhaps. Peraza thinks he's out. Sure seemed like the throw beat him. Perfect pitch out. Good throw right on the money. And I believe Diaz gets the tag on him in time, but still a good jump despite the pitch out. Still almost beat it.
I think we're used to seeing if the Cardinals pitch out with a guy that's throwing 95 and Molina behind the plate, you're out by 5-10 feet. And that game, that particular play was fairly close. There's a ground ball slowly hit to the right side, gloved by Jerko. And so the single erased by the caught stealing, and Iribarren grounds out. Cardinals guess right. David Eckstein, courtesy of Coca-Cola and Deerbergs. You can also start planning ahead with a 2017 Cardinals Magnet schedule presented by Shelter Insurance. Now a light rain and a mist here at the ballpark as Molina again on the first pitch. Rounds to short. There's Peraza. There's one away. The ponchos and the umbrellas starting to pop out around the ballpark. The Cardinals, I think, have to be excited with what they've seen thus far out of Alex Reyes. First inning, 12 pitches. Second inning, 16. The third, 13. So fairly economical.
Really what we'd hoped for from him, that he would be able to get deep in the game. The Cardinals have a fairly rested bullpen. What we're not sure about, the ball may have hit him. And I believe it did. Piscotty is nicked by it. Cardinals have a base runner. But we don't know about the availability of Sun Hwan Oh for the Cardinals.
had to leave after aggravating the groin injury that he's been dealing with here recently, and so he had to leave last night. And now it's Johnny Peralta.
The encouraging news was he said he could have continued pitching if need be, so it wasn't as severe, but you don't know how it feels a day later.
So runner at first is Piscotty, and Peralta takes a ball. So here it was. If he missed it last night, Seung-Hwan Oh, relatively easy play, if you will, in terms of looking at potential of an injury, and he had to leave the game.
And that's one of those pieces of information fans may say, well, why didn't we ask him? Are you going to pitch today? Well, Cardinals are not going to tell us that, and he's not going to tell us that, and there's a competitive reason for that. They don't want the Reds to know. They're going to be very close to the vest on that, and that's certainly understandable. So you just operate as if he is available, and we'll find out by the time we get to the 9th inning if the Cardinals have a lead, whether or not he is or not.
So 1 out, runner at first. Rain has picked up a little bit here in St. Louis. 2 balls, no strikes on Johnny Peralta. And Peralta hits it out to left. Duvall backing up, and he makes the catch with Piscotty going back to the bag at first. This is the kind of rain and mist that becomes a nuisance.
Right.
And those balls that normally are gobbled up on the infield find a way to skip through, or an outfielder, it skips through the gap.
I think about it with outfielders, especially on a ball by the time it gets to them, and the outfield is a different kind of drainage. It's not different drainage necessarily, but it's not quite the same as how they will keep up the infield during a rain issue over 3 or 4 innings. They'll work, they'll kind of drag the infield, but in the outfield you tend to get little puddles, and those throws become very difficult because they're aired out throws. The runner going first to third, the ball's not getting to you as quickly, and when you get it, it's not in prime condition.
Here's Jed Jerko, a solo home run back in inning number 2. And the 1-0. Now we're getting way ahead of ourselves, but think about the field conditions with Seung-Hwan Oh dealing with a groin injury. Slippery surface, slippery mound, and the area around the mound too. Just something to think about.
Scott Schebler for Cincinnati tweaked a knee 2 nights ago, not in the lineup today. Would that keep him from being used late in this game potentially?
Two balls and 1 strike.
And does it change if the infield gets wetter and wetter? Does it change Cincinnati's desire to run, which they've done very well against the Cardinals?
It's 8 attempts in the 4 games against Yadier Molina. I wonder if that's happened since he's been called up to the big leagues in a 4-game series.
I don't know.
Little bigger lead this time by Stephen Piscotty, and the 2-1 pitch. Jerko pulls it foul.
Well, Dan, last night, actually 2 nights ago, I enjoyed your call so much. The adios pelota, and of course the moment was bigger than that, but I just loved your call. We're going to, next inning, listen in on our Spanish-speaking radio broadcast. Que Buena is doing that for the local community and the Cardinal network, and we are going to listen in for a while and hear if they are as good as you.
Oh, I bet they are. That's Paulo Asensio on the left. He's a backup play-by-play man for the Hall of Famer with the Dodgers, Jaime Irene. And on the right, Benji Molina. Actually had a little work behind the scenes to help set this up, and Benji has been trying to get into this line of work, and so very excited to be here in St. Louis. The 2-2 taken high. This will be the final weekend to listen to the great Vin Scully. as he will finish up his broadcasting career calling the Dodgers and the Giants from AT&T Park. The rain in the lights, it looks like snow right now coming down, that light rain. 3-2, runner goes, tapped foul.
Well, it's a nuisance now, but it might become more than that. There's the quality you're talking about. It's just drifting down in a way, and it's a light rain but persistent.
So with 2 outs, 3-2 count. Piscotty off with the pitch again, and the pitch to Jerko is swung on and missed, and strikeout number 4 tonight for Dan Straley. The Spanish-speaking broadcast. Hear a little bit of that when we come back.
Bueno.
Play-by-play of Polo Asensio for Spanish radio here at the ballpark as Joey Votto puts one foul. But first we hear from Jaime El Gato.
Gracias, amigo. Colton Wong told me today is the first day since he banged up his shoulder in Chicago. Then he's been almost completely pain-free. He said a cortisone injection and some rest really helped. He was even able to do some throwing today. He told me he came in, did some work in the trainer's room, and told them he was ready to go. Colton said the shoulder was still hurting last night when he delivered that pinch hit triple in the 9th. He said when Mike Matheny asked him if he was okay to hit last night, he told him absolutely. As Colton said, put up or shut up time. I knew the shoulder was hurting, but I knew I could go up there and do something to help the team. Dan, he did. Unfortunately, it went to waste.
Well, Jim, you should have got on him and said, what, you didn't have 5 more feet in you?
You know, he said he didn't think that ball was gone. He said he didn't even think it was going to stay fair. And he was hoping to get 2. He ended up getting 3. But unfortunately, that's where the threat ended, Dan.
Thank you, Jimmy. Here is Adam Duvall, who doubled and scored back in inning number 2. Ooh, and he was right on that pitch. Duvall with 33 home runs. He's driven in 102. That's 5th best in the National League. Nolan Arenado with 130 RBIs. And the 0-1. He's 5th in home runs. Arenado has 40.
Another thing you start to think about with the weather is the grip on the bat. Duvall trying to wipe the bat handle off to make sure the bat doesn't slip out of his hand. He has a good grip on it. And a pitcher with his off-speed pitches especially.
Good fastball at 96. And why do you say the off-speed pitches? Explain that.
Because you're trying to impart spin on a ball, and it's a slip. If it becomes a slicker surface, you really want a more of a rosin bag type feel to it, a little bit more tackiness to it instead of a slippery feel. Fastball not quite as important.
The breaking ball and kept in front by Molina. We will hear from his brother momentarily.
Jaime El Gato, huh?
Jimmy the Cat.
I enjoyed that.
Jaime El Gato es muy loco.
Claro que sí.
Bueno.
All right, we're done. We're going to have to let the professionals handle the the Spanish part here in a moment.
Votto, your runner at first base. A changeup coming up here from Reyes on 3-2, and he's out in front. By the way, how did Votto hit that ball?
I don't know. Well, we've seen him do that, though. He just serves the ball the other way and manages with it almost seems like a half swing to still hit the ball hard. Yeah, it's odd. We see Carpenter do that every once in a while. Maybe they're talking about that. What you called him yesterday, the league villain?
The villain. Got to have a good villain. He relishes that role. 3-2 and struck him out.
Se ponchó.
Strikeout of Duvall, number 4 tonight for Alex Reyes. Let's listen in to Polo Asensio and Benji Molina. Spanish radio taking place tonight here at Busch Stadium.
Un gran out. ¿Por qué? Porque ahora viene a batear Eugenio Suárez, otro hombre de 20 cuadrangulares por los rojos, que saca un batazo a la tercera base. Ideal para doble play. A segunda no, la inicial. Llega quieto ahí Suárez. Un batazo de botes muy altos al cual Johnny Peralta tuvo que echar un salto. En segunda no hubo ningún problema, pero en la primera le metió velocidad Suárez y llegó quieto. Pero buena jugada ahí del tercera base.
Una jugada que puede ser muy peligrosa porque se puede meter en las luces, la puede perder en las luces. A la misma vez está tirando corriendo para segunda, pero ahí Giorgio hizo tremendo trabajo, casi completan la doble matanza.
Sí, ahí fue una jugada beisbolera, nada más faltó que cayera la doble matanza ahí en primera base, pero buena jugada de Peralta, muy buena jugada de Giorgio. Y lo que noté, Benji, mientras vemos aquí el primer lanzamiento para Iván de Jesús, es que el corredor que iba a segunda, Joey Votto, a diferencia de muchos, simplemente se agachó para evitar la colisión, para evitar la lesión y así demostrar que es un hombre que le importan sus colegas, ¿no?
Así es. Con esas reglas nuevas que han venido estos días.
Sí, la regla Chase Utley. Saludos para la gente de Nueva York. Iván de Jesús, machucón hacia atrás del compadrito Iván de Jesús, número 3 en la espalda, el segunda base del equipo de los Rojos de Cincinnati, un hombre que creciera en las ligas menores de los Dodgers de Los Ángeles. Batazo de foul, aquí se la pasa regalando pelotas quiere hacer amigos Iván de Jesús aquí en San Luis. Lleva ya 3 machucones de foul.
Yo jugué en contra de su papá, le decían el pulpo. El pulpo, saludos al pulpo, donde quiera que estés, muchacho.
El pulpo, Iván de Jesús, que la última vez que yo lo vi, era coach del equipo de los Chicago Cubs, pero ya eso hace un tiempecito. Hombre en primera base, sigue ahí Eugenio Suárez. El lanzamiento, apenitas se queda afuera esa pelota. Iván de Jesús Jr. tiene 28 años de edad, nacido en Guaynabo, Puerto Rico, y vive allá en Vega Alta, la isla del encanto, Puerto Rico. Se queda abajo este lanzamiento aquí de Alex Reyes. Aparecen los patos en la tribuna, en la pantalla. del Busch Stadium. 2-2-2.
Polo Asensio and Benji Molina, you were understanding every pitch.
Everything they were talking about. Ivan De Jesus' father, who
from Puerto
was
Rico
known as El Pulpo, which means octopus. That was his nickname. A former Cardinal, played with the Cardinals in '85. Was on the World Series team there that won the National League pennant. And I enjoyed every second of that. That was fun. And they talked about you a lot. They were saying some bad things about you.
I can't believe what they were saying. I noticed that too. Out to left, they started the runner. It's cut off by Martinez and quickly gets it back into the infield. Nice play to hold De Jesus to a single.
Exactly. He gets to that ball quickly and gets it in quickly. All the things we were talking about with the rain, I had a fear as he's going towards that ball that he might fall, slip, or get a wet baseball and maybe throw it away, but he handles it well, gets it in quickly. It's a nice play.
So runners at first and second, or rather first and third, 2 outs, and Tucker Barnhart the hitter. Barnhart, a 2-out RBI base hit, his first time up, and that changeup is taken high.
That was fun listening in to our friends who are broadcasting. The network is Que Buena, St. Louis, WQQW 1510 AM.
Now the 1-0 pitch. Popped up. Molina. Does he have a play near the screen? And he does. The Reds strand 2. Reyes out of a jam, and it's 1-1. Friday and Sunday's games are right here on Fox Sports Midwest. Saturday's game on Fox starting at 11:30 in the morning. You can also watch them all live on your phone, tablet, or PC on Fox Sports Go. So Dan Straley finishing up the warm-up tosses as the grounds crew is out to touch up the playing surface. Very light mist right now here at the ballpark. The Cardinals have Diaz, Martinez, and Reyes coming up 7, 8, and 9 for St. Louis.
The mist reminding me of what it's like at times to play in the far west at a place like Albuquerque or Phoenix when they have the misters at the ballpark.
Oh yeah,
it's that kind of mist, but of course they're doing that because it's 110 degrees in the summer.
Diaz on the first pitch. A fly ball out to shallow left,
Tough
and
play.
It drops. Diaz hustling on his way to second with a double. Well, you talked about it, Ricky, the footing of the outfielders, and you could see Duvall just tiptoeing in.
We've been talking about how good his range has been. The out-of-zone numbers are good for Duvall, but that's probably his ball, and he's calling for it. I got it, and he's looking at Peraza, and the ball drops right behind him and in front of Duvall. I wonder if Peraza lost that ball too, because he seemed to have a better chance at that early on and then just gave way.
You can see right at the last moment too, Duvall looking at Peraza and may have just interrupted him ever so slightly. So here is Jose Martinez with Alex Reyes on deck. I know you've been a proponent of seeing Martinez a little bit more. You like what you've seen so far.
I really like his at-bats, and we continually talk about the at-bat he had against Aroldis Chapman in Chicago because it was fun. I mean, he was just fouling off pitches, 104, 105. And I'm a little probably biased because having a chance to meet him and talk to him, I just find him very engaging, and also played with his father. Just a connection there, that remembering him as a 2-year-old walking around in the clubhouse.
Also means you're getting old.
Oh, yes, it does. Well, if he told me I played with his grandfather, then we were really going to have to have a conversation.
Well, Straley there did what many are taught, which is if time is called, you're the pitcher, mid windup, finish the pitch.
It's actually the safer thing to do.
Here's a 1-1. Now it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. 11 starts for Dan Straley with 3 or fewer allowed. That's most in baseball with Jake Arrieta, and Arrieta made a start yesterday and he was not happy. He said, we played that game like a spring training game. We cannot lose our edge, talking about the Chicago Cubs. They're in a rain delay tonight in Pittsburgh.
Cardinals 0 for 4 so far with runners in scoring position. Talked about in the open the importance of the Cardinals getting the big hit, breaking the game open. Here's an opportunity for Jose Martinez.
And it's a count of 2 balls and 2 strikes. Fouled back.
Really good swing right on it. Pulled off maybe a bit. Swing so much like his father's. I see that.
Is that right?
Father Carlos Martinez from Venezuela.
Two balls, 2 strikes. Jose Martinez, who walked his first time up. Pops it foul and out of play. So the Pirates will get in the early hours of tomorrow. Carlos Martinez against Tyler Glasnow, one of their top prospects. Cardinals still be to be determined on Saturday who their starter will be. Chad Kuhl going for the Pirates, and then Sunday Adam Wainwright still to be determined for the Pirates on Sunday. Let's hope we can tell you about a starter on Monday. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Foul back again.
So he's hanging tough, but he's also not getting cheated. Martinez, those are swings. He's letting it go, but he's getting a piece of it. Fouling off some good pitches. 7 pitch at bat so far.
Inside. And it's now a count of 3-2 with Reyes on deck. Runner at second base, good speed, and a let miss Diaz. 1-1 our score here at the bottom of the fourth. The Mets, if you're wondering, the night off, they'll be taking on the Phillies beginning tomorrow night, the first of 3. 3-2 pitch. Does Straley have that put away pitch right now with Martinez? So far he is not.
Hanging tough.
A lot of room to the right side of the infield. In the outfield, big gap the other way in left center. It's another 3-2 pitch. Martinez with a fly ball into right. Tony Renda near the line, makes the catch. Diaz will tag up from second to third.
Productive at bat. A long productive at bat. He's going to get some props from his teammates for moving Diaz from second to third.
Well, it's a kind of at bat too you look back on that if the Cardinals get into the bullpen of the Reds, which they certainly will, you're hoping earlier than later. You look at that at bat as being productive in that regard too.
Kind of hoping for that ball to hit off of Renda's head and bounce over the fence for a home run.
You're talking about Martinez's dad. They had the home run off of Jose Canseco's dome.
One of the best bloopers ever.
Oh yeah.
I'll take a blooper here.
Well, the infield is in for Cincinnati. Reyes is swing and a miss. See Votto, the first baseman of the Reds, way in. Suarez, third baseman, is in near the bag. Reyes puts it in play to short. Play at the plate, bubbled, and the Cardinals go on top. 2-1. Alex Reyes put it in play. Peraza had a play, but couldn't get it out of the glove.
When you put the ball in play, good things can happen. The wet field, perhaps. Through the grass to Peraza, slips out, can't make the throw. And the Cardinal bench reaction.
Cardinals with their first lead of the night. Here's Carpenter showing bunt against the shift, and strike one. Matt has flied out to left tonight and also struck out swinging.
First big league RBI for Alex Reyes.
And he made the adjustment in the at bat. Swung through the first pitch, identical the second pitch, and puts it in play. Carpenter yanks it foul down the right field line. On the inside corner and a strikeout of Matt Carpenter. It's 5 tonight for Dan Straley. Well, tomorrow, kids 15 and younger entering with a ticket receive a growth poster, and it features right fielder Stephen Piscotty, courtesy of Missouri Farmers Care. Stay in your seats after the game. It's fireworks presented by Cooper Tires. And your tickets can be had at cardinals.com/promotions. Well, the rain has picked up again, and a lot of work on the infield being done by Bill Finley and the grounds crew, in particular around the bag at second base and the running lane between first and second, the mound, and home plate area. I would imagine that Billy Finley has a lot of sleepless nights.
There's no question about that. I mean, he has.
This is his baby.
Yeah, I mean, there's an awful lot that goes into what the grounds crew does on a daily basis, and the weather that you deal with, the St. Louis summers, the heat. It's incredible. We know how hard it is in the Midwest to keep your own lawn green, but this is it's a field that has to be perfect every night, and it really is. They do terrific work, and really not a whole lot of them too to do an awful lot of activity, and their hours during the summer get long.
And the specific needs of a fielder. You know, Jim Edmonds has talked about, he used to go to Billy Finley and say, I like the grass cut this way because I don't want to see the ball snake on me on a ground ball that's hit into center field, or an infielder asking for something specifically. Maybe how you water the front of the area around home plate with teams that are fast.
And it's become a much more prominent position because of the technology to be able to say where the rain is coming from and when, because the interaction with the umpires used to look up in the sky and guess, or call somebody at the airport, but now it's the grounds crew, the head grounds crew personnel become important communication links for Major League Baseball umpires.
Well, now what you want to see, the leadoff walk to the 8th place hitter after the Cardinals give Reyes a 2-1 lead. Their first lead they'll enjoy tonight. Now Straley, who has picked up 11 sacrifices on the year. He struck out back in the 3rd. Runner at first base is Tony Renda.
Pitch count low so far for Alex Reyes. The idea is to keep it that way.
Here's a 1-0 pitch. Pushed foul.
Mentioned Straley has 11 successful sacrifices, so he's been good at that. I'm sure he'll sacrifice all the way till he's out. The question for the Cardinals will be, do they try to get aggressive and try to get that lead runner, or do you just take the out with a 1-run lead?
Here's a 1-1 pitch to Straley. I think the other factor in this game with Alex Reyes is that in his last start, in which he beat the Cubs 3 runs in 5 innings, an eventual 10-4 win on Saturday at Wrigley Field, is how deep can you go? And I say that, and I understand all hands on deck and you're running out of time, but his last start was near 115 pitches.
Right.
So you got to keep a close eye on him with command and how deep he can go in this game.
And one thing he had with the red start that he had, which was early on, again, this is just start number 5 at the big league level for him, so we can't impute too much experience on Alex Reyes this early. But in that Reds game, he was 5 scoreless, then got in trouble in the 6th. Not unusual for a power pitcher to lose some command as he gets more and more tired.
3-1 pitch, bunted foul.
The guys who are just flippers, it's kind of a phrase that pitching coaches will use, and when you want to talk about the guy that doesn't throw very hard, he's a flipper. Just that sounds like a very negative thing in our world, but those guys know how to pitch when they're tired.
Sure.
Because they're generally always tired.
3-2, struck him out, comes back to get him. Strikeout number 5 for Alex Reyes. Unforgettable games, undeniable greatness, and unstoppable drama. The 2016 postseason begins October 4th. Head to MLB.com/postseason for a full schedule. So 5 strikeouts to go along with a walk. Reyes has allowed 5 base hits. Top of the lineup, and Peraza in a quick move to try to get Tony Renda. Well, you'd love to see in this inning that Reyes could get Peraza and Iribarren and leave Votto left on deck to start next inning.
That's a good point. Just as soon not see him in the 5th. Alex is off in his delivery a little bit. He's clearly bothered by the mound. He's thinking about it, his footing. After he misses, he'll check his shoes and check the landing area. And you can see how it's getting caked on a little bit, the dirt bottom of his cleats.
Here's a 1-0 pitch. But he's got one of the great helpers for any pitcher in this situation.
I know what you're talking about. I know where you're going.
And that is the Raboski, which was replaced after the inning.
Yeah, they have a new Raboski out there.
Dan, the only thing they've done since 1969 to help a pitcher is put that out there. Thank you, Al. Double play ball. Diaz. The turn. Double play. 6, 4, 3. Sorry. Cream Sunday of the year. Starting 2 hours prior to the game, enjoy all the games for the kids, prizes, and free North Star ice cream treats while supplies last. That's in the Ford Plaza, presented by Prairie Farms. I have a text from our great buddy Al Raboski. I told you it does not work! Exclamation point. They are already on their second Raboski. Valid point.
It's a good point.
Valid
It
point.
rains a little bit. You have to throw it away already and get a new one.
I mean, it's valid. I got to give Al credit.
Do you get a warranty on a Raboski?
A warranty.
Or do you get like 3 for the price of 2, or they sell them in bulk? Where do you get them?
Well, then Al will tell you, Dan, I got to tell you, the only thing that works is the good old tongue depressor. Now that's what and then people got caught with emery boards and that went out the window. I'm telling you, it's the tongue depressor. Al, I get it.
Well, there is some truth to that. You know, honestly, one of the things that happens with a pitcher, your shoes, it's a weird thing to say, but your shoes get heavier.
Oh, sure. Yeah, with all the...
And think about the intricacy of a pitching motion, and all of a sudden you're going through your delivery, and not only are they wet, but if you get some caked on mud on the bottom of them, tough for a pitcher, tough for a catcher. But as your other partner, one of your many, will say, Tim McCarver would say, Danny, this is the big leagues.
The big leagues. And that's a big league swing. Out to left. Home run. Yadier Molina with Benji calling it on the Spanish radio side. Adios, pelota. And he looks to his brother as he crosses home plate.
Nice moment for the Molina family and the Cardinal family.
Piscotty pops it up into shallow right. And the catch is made.
Yachty has been driving the baseball for the last month now. The average is high in the second half, but the power's come back as well. Benji, did you see that?
That's great.
Para la calle.
And Peralta with a fly ball. Going back, Renda near the track and makes the catch. Yadier Molina, a solo home run, and it's a 2-run St. Louis lead. The solo home run. And now the Cardinals have a 3-1 lead over the Cincinnati Reds. Look at Yachty pointing to his brother. That's a live shot of Molina.
With the rain picking up. And guess what, Dan? A new Raboski.
That is the third Raboski that's now made its way onto the back of the mound.
Or did they clean the first one and bring it back out?
That's
a big
valid
mystery.
point too.
Where's Jim Hayes?
And Alex actually used it, much to the chagrin of Al Raboski. See, Al, maybe they do use it a little bit. Yeah, but it doesn't work. All right, Al, I get it.
I like these conversations you're having with Al, and he's not even here.
The minute that they started putting that down, we have a camera that those over at Ballpark Village concede. So Al was watching, and before I could even say to you they're putting the third one down, Al had already texted me and said, look, the third one's in. Here's a 1-2. And that is hit down the right field line, but foul. And Al just texted me again. He said, Alex Reyes is a rookie. He will learn.
And there it is. Nailing it back down. I just can't tell whether that's, you know, it looks a lot like the first one.
Yeah. Swing and a miss and a good changeup. Well, how did it sound with Benji and his partner? The Yadier Molina home run. Here it is.
Para Australia batear ahora el capitán Yadier Molina. Y batezo largo y profundo por el jardín izquierdo. La pelota se va. Se va. Y esa pelota.
Se va. Muy profundo. Se va. Pelota. Qué bueno.
Here's the 0-1. Ground ball up the middle and just past Jerko and into right center. Votto, the wide turn around first base, and he'll stop right there with a 1-out hit here in the top of the 6th.
So the first game you work as a broadcaster, your brother hits a home run.
That would be emotional for me.
And I'm sure it is for the entire Molina family.
Great moment. Here's Adam Duvall. He represents the tying run.
My brother played for the Cardinals in the minor leagues, and I would watch for his technology was different at the time, but I would watch for his stats and his games daily. I can't tell you how much fun that was. And so I understand a little bit the joy of performance of a brother and what that's like.
My first game I worked was at spring training. I worked with Joe Buck and Al, and they were introducing me to the baseball scene because I was doing Blues hockey at the time as well, and I had a relationship with Jack Buck working with him at KMOX. And right before I went on the air, Jack pointed at me. He was 2 booths down. The glass was there so I could see him. And he hit Shannon, and they both then look at me and they start laughing, pointing at me, knowing how nervous that I was. Like, look at that guy. He's so nervous over there, you know. And of course, Joe decided to talk about some of the personal habits of A.J. Burnett. There's a fly ball lifted out to left. Martinez with the catch. And one of the personal habits that A.J. had, or personal preference, if you will, was piercings of certain body parts. And Joe decided to bring that up on the air.
On your first game?
On my first game. And I didn't like it because I was a little nervous anyway. And now I'm talking about belly button and various piercings of A.J. Burnett.
I'm frankly a little nervous about it right now, years later, you talking about it.
I don't want to talk about it anymore. But Joe made it a lot of fun. And here we are 19 years later and still having a lot of fun. We get paid to do this. Best job in sports.
You bet. Quickly, my story, first game on radio was almost a no-hitter. Alan Bennis pitching in Atlanta, and I was doing the game with Jack Buck.
Was that the Greg Maddux game?
The Greg Maddux game. That was my first game.
I was running the board for KMOX that night.
You were listening to me?
Turning the knobs. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Thanks for remembering.
I think in the 3rd, the 4th, the 7th, and the 8th, I was sleeping. Wait a minute. Those,
in a no-hitter?
Those were your innings?
No, I was not doing play-by-play. I was just, I would say, being scared working with Jack Buck.
Jack
not scared. Scared's not the right word. A remarkable man.
Yeah. So good to all of us.
In all, maybe a better word.
2-2. So I did a Sunday night NFL show at KMOX with Jack, and he'd say, hey, I want to get Jimmy Johnson on the show tonight. And I'd say, okay, sure, we'll try. You'd call the Dallas Cowboys and say Jack Buck would like to visit with Jimmy Johnson. They'd say what time? And sure enough, he'd call. Anybody he wanted in the country, he could get on. He was the absolute best. Except when he tore up my notes and told me good luck, kid, and left the booth and left me alone to do the play-by-play. That was a little nerve-wracking.
Probably good for you.
Best lesson I've ever learned. Well, to start the runner here with 2 outs. That runner is Joey Votto. And the 3-2 to Suarez. Just missed a little high, tad bit outside. And there's 2 outs with 2 on. Pitch count at 93 for Reyes. An extraordinary man in our community for St. Louis and for the Cardinals. That home run, by the way, for Yadier Molina was career RBI number 700.
I think the cumulative effect of the rain is going to start showing itself.
Two outs, 2 on. That may be a good example there, the grip of a breaking ball. There's Matt Bowman getting loose.
Well, he's clearly conscious of it. He's pounding his spikes. He's using the Roboski. He's checking the baseball. I think the grip is a factor, and Yadi actually asking him to throw that baseball out. And let's start over again here. And Yadi's realizing that he's seeing the distracted nature of Alex Reyes right now. He's seeing him focused on those things, and he's trying to get him focused on this hitter. You don't want to do that too late.
Rain is picked up. The 1-0 pitch, and it is a soft liner into left field. Charging Martinez, and they'll hold Joey Votto at third. Aggressive approach on that base hit. And now the Reds with something going here. The base is loaded. And out to visit the pitching coach, Derek Lilliquist, in what could be the key moment in this game tonight.
Well, Reyes is going to get a shot here at Tucker Barnhart, who had a single his first plate appearance. But with the tying run at second base, this is undoubtedly a key moment in this game. Might be the last inning for Alex Reyes when you look at his pitch count at 95. Bowman is ready, but at this point it's Reyes's game. I would guess, Dan, that Reyes's ability to get through his final inning in his last start in a similar situation, came up with a key strikeout, might fuel Mike Matheny's desire to keep him in here in a jam.
So the base is loaded. Barnhart at the plate. There is strike 1. Barnhart from this side of the plate, 273. The other side, 210. But expanded rosters, if you wanted to switch him around, then Brian Price could go with one of his options from the other side. Change up. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike. This might be your game right here. Bases loaded. Top of the 6th. 2 outs. A 3-1 St. Louis lead. 1 ball, 1 strike. Outstanding changeup, 1-2. So the question would be, what do you come with here?
Well, very difficult to throw him back to back as well as this one was thrown. Just pulled the string on it. I like fastball away here.
The 1-2. Ground ball. It is fair. Carpenter steps on the bag. Reyes through 6. The Reds strand the bases loaded. And it remains a 3-1 St. Louis lead. 100% strawberry lemonade is back, and it's only available at McDonald's. Well, he's been in trouble a couple of times tonight, young Alex Reyes, but he's pitched out of that trouble.
First time came in the 4th inning. He's able to get a pop-up. That's Barnhart in the 4th. And you come to the 6th, and it's Barnhart again. This time a bouncer to the right side just barely stays fair. Reyes very thankful he was able to come up with that big pitch in 2 separate innings against the Reds catcher. And I'm guessing that's it for Alex Reyes at 99 pitches.
Dan Straley, the starter of the Reds, pitching here into the bottom of the 6th. It's Jed Jerko, Aledmys Diaz, and Jose Martinez. It was Jerko's home run that tied the game up back in the 2nd inning. Cardinals picked up an RBI by Alex Reyes in the 4th. That made it 2-1. And a solo home run by Yadier Molina, his 8th. That was in inning number 5. So back in the 2nd, one of the longest home runs the Cardinals have hit this year.
456 feet, got all of it, and then got wet at the end. But it's been that kind of night. And I wonder whether or not, talked about it affecting the play, but there's going to be some tough decision making perhaps in the next 3 innings about whether or not to stop. Do you just work on the field continually between innings? With the diamond dry, do you put the tarp on and wait for things to clear up, because it's going to become a factor here soon, and,
Well,
and it already is.
You're starting to see it down at the 3rd base line.
Right.
And Suarez right behind him, where it gets a little shiny. As Suarez makes the play. When you see the dirt shiny like that, then you know it's starting to puddle.
It's such an important game for the Cardinals and their wild card hopes. You want to handle it right, but the fields do drain well. That is definitely a factor here. The fields have tremendous drainage ability, but if you put the tarp on, I'm not sure what that gets you if there's more rain in the forecast down the road too. Maybe you just play through it.
If you're wondering, and this is Diaz, the decision now lies squarely on the shoulders of the umpires, and in particular the home plate umpire, Bill Miller, because he's the crew chief. Now you're talking about important decisions for them. There's some very important decisions for the Cardinals, trying to figure out who gets the final 9 outs in this game, especially if Seung-Hwan Oh is not available.
Well, Matt Bowman's the easy choice for the 7th. You'd say Segrist is the easy choice for the 8th. Or do you put him in the 9th and use Trevor Rosenthal? Or do you use Bowman for 2? Or Segrist for 2? All of those are choices. Zach Duke, I believe, a lefty you can count on.
The 2-1. Diaz, base hit out to left. Ball skipping out there to Adam Duvall. And Diaz has been aboard 3 times with a walk, a bloop double, and now a single.
Danny, the bullpen decisions are going to be predicated on where you are in the lineup at the time and what the score is. If the Cardinals can push some more runs across, it would make that decision less stressful for Mike Matheny, perhaps.
Here's Jose Martinez. He's had a couple of plays in left field, Rick, where he's aggressively charged the baseball. One holding Evande Jesus to a single, and then the other with the bases loaded situation last inning to make it a bases loaded situation and not scoring Joey Votto.
Particularly the one in the 6th inning, the base hit by De Jesus. He was so shallow to begin with. The outfield for the Cardinals really playing shallow. I wonder if they think the ball's not carrying as well in the rain or the weather, perhaps, or just playing it that way situationally. But he got on it in a hurry.
Into center, and the catch is made, and I think Iribarren needs to realize we play 3 outs per inning.
1, 2, 3.
So 2 outs, and that is it for Alex Reyes. 6 strong innings. And the Cardinals will have Matt Adams pinch hit. He has been one of the Cardinals' top pinch hitters this year. Picked up home run number 16 in game 2 of this series coming off the bench. And of his 16 home runs, 3 have been the pinch hit variety. He's 12 for 35 as a pinch hitter. A big swing and a miss.
And Cardinal fans can only hope that that's not the last time we see Alex Reyes in 2016. Excited to watch him pitch a full season in 2017, but I'd like to see him a little bit more here this year.
Adams taps it foul. Nothing in 2 the count. Runner at first, 2 outs. Cardinals leading 3-1. They've been out hit 7-6 in this game. Adams a strikeout. And Straley with 7 in 6 innings of work. We head to the 7th. It's up to the pen now. This all important game. Infield, the drying agent between the running lanes of first and second, second and third. The best record when leading after 6 innings. The Academy Sports and Outdoor Leaderboard. And the Cardinals 61-5. The Pirates just slightly better of St. Louis. But 61-5 for the Cardinals. So the Cardinals turn to Matt Bowman. He's finishing up his warm-up tosses. He probably could take his time as Bill Finley and his hard-working crew are trying to put up the finishing touches here to get ready for the 7th inning. They had pulled the tarp, or at least the cover off the tarp, just in case. They have that ready to go. And if you're just joining us, the Cardinals fell behind 1-0 in this game. Then they tied it up with a Jed Jerko home run. Alex Reyes with an RBI, and then a solo home run by Yadier Molina. Rain, shine, snow, that guy, he doesn't. That little guy, he doesn't care. He's having fun here at the ballpark. Hat is all wet. I'm not sure he enjoys baseball, but more so boxing. Take that. Whap, 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 whap. Come on, you want some more? Come get it. Bam, I'll kick you too. Who's next? Guy's fired up. Bam, bam, bam. So here we go, top of the 7th. That's your in-between innings entertainment here at the ballpark. So the Cardinals now turn to Matt Bowman. And Tony Arenda leads it off for Cincinnati. And quickly, no balls and 2 strikes.
We mentioned it last time we saw Bowman, who is our Chevy call to the bullpen, that he has seemed to make an adjustment to get the ball back down in the zone again, to have that sinker at the knees. 58 appearances for Matt, and good resume. More than anybody could have expected out of a Rule 5 draft choice.
Well, here we go, including tonight. 4 games remain, and here's a pitcher that, with your season on the line.
There he is.
Right, and he barely made the team out of spring training. Swing and a miss, and he strikes out Renda to start the 7th. You always play the what-if game in sports, really in life. But you think about what if the Cardinals had been just slightly better at home. 48 wins on the road, 34 and 43 at home after the loss last night. If St. Louis would make the playoffs, they'd be the first team since the 0-1 Braves to have a losing record at home and make the postseason. It just gives you an idea. It doesn't happen very often.
No, it does not.
Here is Steve Selski, the pinch hitter for Cincinnati. Straley is out of the game now. The Cardinals will get into that Reds bullpen. Oh, 1 pitch. Monday pitch, Arsenault, fastball, slider, and change.
I think he's gone back to the fastball more too lately. He was, I think, falling in love with his changeup, which was a strikeout pitch for him, but the fastball gets a lot of ground ball. Not, again, an overpowering velocity, but very good with the location and movement.
2-1, now make it 2-2.
Segrist getting loose. You would expect him to be ready for Iribarren and Votto. And with Segrist, depending upon when that is, maybe pitching the 8th, makes you hopeful that O is ready for the 9th.
The 2-2. Taking a little bit high. Three and 2 the count on Steve Selski. Big gap in left center. And the next to him. Struck him out. Back-to-back strikeouts for Bowman here at the top of the 7th.
Two-seam fastball, but it stayed up in the zone. He blew it by him. That's Mr. 5 for 5 that he just struck out.
There's Jumbo Diaz on the left, Blake Wood on the right. So 2 outs and nobody on. If I wouldn't have said which guy was on the left, you probably could have figured out which one was Jumbo.
You enjoyed him doing pass patterns with the football out here early yesterday.
That was a sight to behold, watching Jumbo Diaz run pass patterns. They were playing catch with the football to get loose, and now it's 0-2 on Jose Barraza. The next by Matt Bowman. Up the middle, and a base hit on an 0-2 pitch, and the second hit for Barraza tonight. And now the tying run comes to the plate with Joey Votto on deck. Hernan Iribarren is 0 for 3 tonight. Twice he has grounded out to second, and he also struck out.
I like the fact that Mike Matheny is giving Bowman one more batter here. If this was Votto at the plate, I would say you get him out. But I think with Iribarren, not saying he can't hit a home run, but Bowman's throwing well enough. You give him one more batter. The ball's just coming out of his hand well.
Just about to say, a little extra life.
It does. The 0-2 pitch there actually wasn't that bad a pitch. It caught a little bit too much of the inside corner, but I can't believe Peraza had such a good swing at that pitch.
He's had 10 strikes, only 4 balls of the 14 that he's thrown. Here's the 0-1. Well, you talked about it last night, how Mike Matheny, when asked about Zach Duke against Joey Votto and the numbers which do not favor Zach Duke, you mentioned that Mike said this is a different pitcher. A lot of that damage was done in the Central Division,
right,
with Zach Duke as a starter. And he got him last night. 1 ball, 1 strike. Good changeup, 1-2.
When Bowman was struggling, this was the pitch that was the 58-footer. But well placed there.
A ball and 2 strikes. The next by Matt Bowman. He struck him out. Strikes out the side here in the 7th inning. Time to stretch. Great work by Bowman. It's 3-1. Only will you find seats you'll love whenever you want. You can find the best seat for your buck when you sort by the best value. So get the StubHub app today. This is the Gateway Honda home run inning. Cardinals hit a home run. The Gateway Honda dealers donate $1,000 to the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri. Boy, how about the job of Matt Bowman's moments ago? Terrific.
We noticed the ball just coming out of his hand with a little more authority, a little more hop to it, and also hitting his spots. And there's Jumbo Diaz. Our Chevy call to the bullpen. Be nice if the Cardinals can tack on a few more runs. Diaz had a terrible start to the season and then actually went through a really good time and been so-so lately, but there was a time where they thought this guy might be their closer down the road. He throws very hard.
The relievers of Cincinnati, they lead not just the National League, but all of Major League Baseball in home runs allowed, walks allowed, and they are 3rd in innings pitched. So that tells you their starters have not gone deep this year. As Carpenter looks at a strike.
I wonder if the innings pitched don't affect the other two
Absolutely.
as much as anything else. You've got guys overworked and pitching too many innings. Probably a lot of bad spots for them too. When the starter goes short, you don't always get the best pitching matchups later on. You're not set up properly, so you're going to be pitching to the wrong guy at the wrong time more often.
1 ball and 1 strike. Carpenter looking for his first hit tonight. The shift is on. And a swing and a miss. 1-2. You know, Carpenter's been dealing with the oblique and the sore finger, and the numbers have dipped. You can see just the aggressive swings at times aren't quite there. Outfield is straight away. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
There's a good example of that. A pitch that looked like out of the hand of Diaz. He saw it well, and that we've seen Carpenter drive that ball before, but he pulled off it just a little bit, didn't really drive through the baseball, and I think there's a physical limitation involved, as you mentioned. And Cardinals, by the way, today, Dan, picking up their 3 runs via the extra base hit, 2 home runs, the leadoff double. Still not getting the runner in scoring position stat up. They're 0 for 6 so far. And you hope that doesn't come back to bite them.
Still a light rain falling here at the ballpark. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Our crowd tonight, 38,830. 38830. 2-2. That'll find the seats. Out of play down the left field line. Well, this is our final game working together this year, Rick Horton.
Yes.
And as always, it's a delight, a pleasure. You're one of the best in the business, and it's my privilege to work with 4 great analysts. And I mean that sincerely. You're one of my best friends, along with Al and Tim. Jim Edmonds has been a lot of fun this year, but you make it just a great time, and I appreciate it.
I appreciate that, Danny. It's been fun. Another good season. Hopefully there's a lot more Cardinal baseball ahead here this season.
Carpenter thinking 2 out of the batter's box. On his way to second. Head first slide and a leadoff double for Carpenter as the Cardinals are trying to add some insurance.
I have great respect for your ability, Dan, to get along with 4 very different left-handed people. And I know that's not easy to do, and we've had some great moments. You've had some terrific calls. Carpenter laces that double. There's a swing. There's a full swing by Matt. Again, an extra base hit for the Cardinals, which seems to be the way they score runs.
Yeah, you pointed that out to me one day, and we're doing the game, and you said, you know, you work with all these lefties, and I'm thinking, well, McCarver was a catcher, but oh, wait a minute. Hits from the left side.
Right.
Jimmy, you, Al. Al's in a category all by himself.
I believe Al hit right-handed.
Well, I know he's left-handed, though. I don't care how he hit.
Oh, we need to get a new Roboski out there.
It's getting a little muddy. Here's a 1-0 pitch. Ooh, and Grichuk right on it. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Fortunately, Jim Hayes is right-handed.
But probably should be in the left-handed category. Not probably.
Couldn't disagree.
He needs to be. He's a whack job too. Here's a 1-1.
You've just offended 14% of our audience, but that's okay.
What, with Hayes?
No, by saying he's out of his mind because he's left-handed. You were a little bit more direct about that. You might get some mail. That's all I'm saying.
In other words, you're encouraging all left-handed people to write me.
At Danny Mac TV on Twitter.
A high strike, and Grichuk is called out for the first out here in the bottom of the 7th.
Like to have seen him move the runner over there. The Cardinals now 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. That may have just nicked the outside corner.
Here is Yadier Molina. Jimmy Edmonds will be in the booth this weekend on Friday and Sunday as we wrap up our baseball season here on Fox Sports Midwest.
Huge games, important games.
Here's a 1-0. 1 ball and 1 strike. Molina is homer tonight.
And by the time we get to the weekend series, we'll all be Dodger fans.
I better get a
Dodger
ski cap.
Something. I don't have a ski cap, but I have some other paraphernalia for you.
Maybe your Dodger World Championship ring.
Boy, not sure I can trust you with that. You might send it over to Ballpark Village for the post-game shot. I'm not sure I can trust you.
Oh no, it'd be directly on eBay within 5 minutes. I know this means a lot to you, Rick, but well, we're going to add to the funds at Cardinals Care. 2-2 the count on Molina. But you think about it, you know, we start our year going down to spring training, which next year begins earlier because of the World Baseball Classic. End of February, early March, we're down there, and here we are, 4 games to go, including tonight, and the season still on the line. And a swing and a miss, and Molina strikes out.
So your negative comment about left-handers has already gotten a text here from Dave LaPointe, former Cardinal left-handed pitcher, who wants me to tell you that he is offended officially. At Danny Mac TV. Left-handers unite.
That's a shame this is your final game, Rick. Really is. I should mention final game of the year. You will be back next year.
There you go.
Many years to come.
It is a privilege, Dan, as you say, to represent the Cardinals to a terrific fan base. And I know the fan base, you mentioned it in the broadcast a couple of times, that it has been frustrating at moments.
Oh,
and it's hard to deliver the bad news or the rough games, but yet we know that Cardinal fans are Cardinal fans. And they stay true, but have some times where it's frustrating.
The fly ball lifted out to right off the bat of Piscotty, and the Cardinals waste the double by Matt Carpenter. So Zach Duke coming on when we come back. will take over here in the 8th inning. So does this tell you, Rick, that by having Duke in the 8th potentially tells you that it's Siegrist in the 9th?
Could be. Very much so. Zach Duke has been reliable against left-handers, and I think he would be in here anyway with Votto at the plate. Matheny using Duke against Votto earlier in this series.
Well, since Zach Duke became a full-time reliever a couple of years ago, Votto is 2 for 6 against Duke, so a little better understanding of the numbers there with no extra base hits. Nothing into the count.
Duke is an entirely different pitcher than when he was a starter in terms of his mechanics.
It's it the other way, coming on in a late break, and it drops in front of Martinez. Check that, Pham. Votto on his way to second, and it hits Votto.
Well, he's got blood coming from his chin, it looks like. And looked as if that ball hit him flush too, didn't it?
Sure did.
There's the throw up the line a little bit, catches him right in the chin. Oh my.
Oof.
The reaction from Aledmys Diaz was one of horror, and if that ball doesn't hit Votto, he might be on third. Thought off the bat that was going to be a harmless little fly ball to left. It just kept sinking. Pham gave it an effort, but couldn't come up with it. Trying to compress it, and the way that's bleeding, it's hard to imagine that stopping quickly. You wonder what the Reds might do here, and where the Reds are in the season, and with Votto, you might suspect that they would just pinch run for him anyway. Get him out, get somebody else in. Makes sense to do that.
You know, he may have gone a couple of rounds with that kid that we were showing between innings.
And he's going to run off. I like that. There's your villain. You called him a villain yesterday, but that was what heroes do there.
It'll be the final time that we see Joey Votto here in St. Louis in 2016. We mentioned the footing on a wet night here in St. Louis. Would it come into play? It may have there with Martinez on that jump. It was a late break, or rather Pham on that break. It was a late break, and then it looked like he just didn't have very good footing too. So Tyler Holt will be the pinch runner.
What you hope is the Cardinals being 0 for 9 doesn't come back to bite you in with runners in scoring position. It was one of the keys to this game that the Cardinals produce when they have opportunities. They did not do that last night. Really haven't done it tonight, even though they have a 3-1 lead.
And a pitch taken a little bit low by Adam Duvall. He represents the tying run.
It's a little bit more of a scary matchup right here. Duke and Duvall.
These two have never faced each other. Duvall with a double and a run scored back in inning number 2. Fastball and a strike. Outstanding season this year for Adam Duvall. Kubota power stats, most RBIs against St. Louis. Duvall with 19, Votto with 14. Joey Votto exits, having gone 3 for 4 here tonight. 1 ball and 1 strike. Hit the other way, and that's a base hit. Run will score. That's Duvall on his way to second. Nope, he'll stop. And he drives in RBI number 103, and that makes it a 3-2 St. Louis lead.
And the plot thickens.
Boy, does it.
Just reaches out, hits the ball the other way. Way off the line is Carpenter, as you would expect with the right-handed power hitter, and he just finds a hole. Good effort by Matt. Now he represents the tying run at first base.
And it brings in a Eugenio Suarez. Monday pitch Arsenault on the left-hander Zach Duke. Fastball, slider, cutter, curve, and change. Outfield is straight away. Off-speed pitch. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Kevin Seagrass now joining Sokolovic in the Cardinals bullpen.
Don't overlook Suarez and his power with 20 home runs.
Pretty all or nothing guy too. Strikes out a lot, but has good power. It's a breaking ball that is well placed down and in. Hard to do anything with that.
Cardinals have turned a double play tonight. That was back in the 5th off the bat of Peraza. The 1-2 pitch. A fly ball hit down the right field line, slicing foul.
It was very nearly a disaster.
And a fly ball lifted out to shallow center. There's Grichuk. The catch is made. 1 away.
That ball looked to be up a little bit, but he wasn't able to keep his hands back and his weight back long enough to drive that baseball. Zach Duke may have gotten away with the pitch there.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the St. Louis Cardinals. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals. Avad De Jesus. A check on the runner at first. That's Duvall. He has 6 steals this year. Duvall at first base represents the tying run. The go-ahead run is at the plate. We're in the top of the 8th of a must-win game for the Cardinals.
Cardinals with a right-hander up in the 8th inning. They've already used Matt Bowman from the right side, but they get up, and I think this is telling, Miguel Sokolovic, and not Trevor Rosenthal, not Michael Wacha, not Jonathan Broxton, and not Sam Tuivailala.
You just wonder, when do all the appearances finally catch up, even with the guy that has been as durable as Zach Duke?
Let's hope it's December. Let's hope he's just tired one day in December. Has to take an extra long nap or something. Sure don't want it to be September 29th.
The 2-0 pitch. Round ball pulled foul. This is one of those nights in watching Duke. He does not look nearly as sharp as some of the other times we've seen him. A trade deadline pickup for the Cardinals from the White Sox that flew under the radar, and he has been outstanding in this Cardinals bullpen. The 2-1 pitch to the backstop, and that'll put the tying run in scoring position and potentially eliminate the idea of an inning-ending double play.
That just got away from Duke. Not even close, and it also raises the possibility of us seeing either Sokolovich in this inning or Segrist for a 1+ inning appearance.
3-1 pitch. 3-2. And the outfield of the Cardinals fairly shallow here too. Keep that in mind.
It's where they were on DeJesus when he had a base hit in the 6th inning, and because they were so shallow, Votto couldn't score in that inning. They're making DeJesus hit the ball over their head.
3-2 pitch.
He's floating that breaking ball up there, and they're just not really getting very good swings at it.
Doesn't have that sharp break that we normally see. This crowd trying to come alive. 38,000 plus. The 3-2.
Got to get him.
That may be it.
Yeah, you got to get him.
Kevin Segrist. The Chevy called to the pen. Game on the line. Maybe the season on the line when we come back. Three to our score. Runners at first and second. And Tucker Barnhart, who picked up a 2-out RBI base hit in the second, is at the plate. He popped out with runners at first and third to end the fourth. Bases loaded, grounded out to first in the sixth. Strike one.
Late inning tension of baseball. One of the things I love about this game.
You love this spot.
Laughers are fun when you win 10-0 and your favorite player hits 3 home runs. Yeah, I get that. And you like to kind of ease into a victory, but this is, boy, this is fun for me. A 1-run game in the 8th.
0-1 pitch. Right-hander still getting loose in the Cardinals pen. Blake Wood throwing in the Reds bullpen. 1 ball and 1 strike. Two and 1. Two and 2. So now what does he come with here at 2 and 2?
Sigrist has a plus fastball and a plus changeup. The curveball's gotten better. Normally more effective against a lefty. I'd like to see the fastball here.
Big pitch in this game. The 2-2. Fly ball lifted out to center. Grichuk makes the catch. Runner from second. Duvall will tag up and head to third. And the Cardinals now 1 out away from getting out of this jam. Runners at first and third. The batter will be Tony Renda, who has struck out twice and walked. He has never faced the left-hander Kevin Sigrist.
If he's able to get Renda, we can all breathe better. But you can also look towards the 9th and realize that the 4th batter of the inning won't be Joey Votto.
Huge. First pitch to him.
We're not there yet, but it may be a factor in this game.
The Cardinals have allowed a wild pitch in this game tonight, a pass ball that led to a run. First and third with 2 outs. The 1-0 inside. Ramon Cabrera, the backup catcher, switch hitter, is at the on-deck circle. The 2-0 pitch. 2-1.
Outfield again very shallow for St. Louis.
The 2-1. 2-2.
He's climbing the ladder with him. Do you stay upstairs with the fastball, or do you try to fool him with the changeup? Cardinal fans just want success.
The 2-2. Fly ball into right. Backing up. Piscotty. He's got it. 3-2 our score. On Fox Sports Midwest is brought to you by Michelob Ultra, brewed for those who go the extra mile. And by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. Been a wet, rainy night here at Busch Stadium, where Chevy Colt to the pen takes us to the right-hander of the Cincinnati Reds, Blake Wood. The Cardinals have Peralta, Jerko, Diaz coming up. The season numbers on Blake Wood.
Found a hard thrower out of their bullpen, more than a strikeout an inning for Wood. We've mentioned in this series that the Reds bullpen, although it has certainly put up some bad numbers, the home run's part of that, but there have been some glimpses of brilliance that have emerged. I think Iglesias, who we saw here last night, is going to be a long-term answer for them. I see him as a better closer in my mind than Cingrani. Cingrani could be an 8th inning guy, perhaps, but this guy's part of the story, too.
And look who it is, Seung-Hwan Oh, getting loose in the Cardinals' pen.
Whew. I feel a lot better. And not just thinking about this game.
Peralta, a liner, and off the glove of the new first baseman of the Reds, and a leadoff base hit. It's De Jesus, who shifted over to first base.
Like he got fooled on that line drive. Maybe it sliced on him a little bit. See a pitch runner for Johnny Peralta.
So Colton Wong, who was nearly a hero last night, will be your runner at first base. Here's Jed Jerko, a solo home run back in inning number 2. He struck out in the 3rd and grounded out. Well, you improve yourself more than likely defensively by keeping Wong in the game too, and obviously with his speed. Outfield is deep. And Jerko takes ball 1. Aledmys Diaz is at the on deck circle. 2 balls and no strikes. But the footing of the infield, does that play a part right now in Mike Matheny's thinking of trying to steal a base with Colton Wong.
It would have to. It's not a fast track right now. Doesn't mean you can't steal a base if you get a good jump.
Jericho with a fly ball out to left, and the catch is made, and Wong is back to the bag at first. One down.
This could be a good hit and run combination here with Diaz at the plate. He hits a lot of balls hard on the ground. He has good plate coverage. I'm not sure I'd do it on the first pitch. He's having a good day already, 2 for 2 with a walk. When you have a bit of a lead, it's always a little more comfortable to press the issue.
The outfield is straight away for Aledmys Diaz. So the new pitcher is Wood. Cabrera will bat ninth. He's catching. Tyler Holt is in center field. Iribarren shifts to second, and De Jesus at first. The changes now for the Cincinnati Reds. Another check on Colton Wong. Aledmys Diaz with a 2-hit night, 2 for 2, is now back at 300. No balls, 1 strike.
Still amazing to me that Yadi has climbed over 300.
I think the amazing thing is this will be the 5th time in his career potentially to hit 300 or better.
Reds thinking hit and run too, although that was not really a hit and run count. I wonder if they think they got a sign there or stole a sign. Diaz intently looking at Chris Maloney. 1-1, a better hit and run count. Bill Miller talks to Wong. Maybe, just maybe.
Runner goes. Little chopper, could be an infield hit. Tough play. Throw to first and save. De Jesus tried to sell it. Came off the bag, and Wong, hustling all the way, winds up at third.
And the reason he came off the bag quickly is because Colton Wong was headed to third. He was trying to pull off. Now he's questioning whether or not he was really on the bag or not. We may have a look at this, but here's the hit and run, the high chopper, the bare hand. Really nice play. Is he on the bag or not? Oh boy.
By the way, Diaz didn't touch the bag either until he went back to touch it.
Well, he stumbled at least there, and I don't know if he hit it with his toe or not, but
you have an inexperienced first baseman in De Jesus, where I think it's twofold. One, the point of Wong circling and you're trying to rush to make the throw. Secondly, in years past, without replay, that's one way you would try to sell a call at first base.
Definitely.
But you can't do that anymore.
And I think he may, I wonder if he even juggled the ball too. So hard to say where his foot is now. It's going to have to be convincing evidence, and that's such a hard thing to know. I can't tell in the replays that I've seen. He certainly starts to move his foot as the ball is entering his glove. Again, the ball's not in his glove till it's in the back of his glove. Now, where's the foot? And you're right, Diaz didn't touch first. Boy, I could see this going either way.
Agreed.
I could see it going either way, and it's a key play.
Well, the call is that he's out.
I can't really see the Cardinals arguing that.
I love seeing Wong on that play wind up at third base. Very limited playing time for Tommy Pham here down the stretch. So 2 outs. And the runner at third is Colton Wong. Fastball inside. The Reds, looking ahead to the ninth, have the switch hitting Cabrera. Then Peraza, a couple of hits tonight. Iribarren. 2 outs, runner at third, and the 1-0 pitch.
Ooh, almost got away from Cabrera. If Pham's not able to get a hit, the Cardinals have a possibility of winning a game where they were 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position.
That's hard to do. So 2 balls, no strikes on Tommy Pham. Fastball, and it's 2-1. A count of 2 balls and 1 strike on the left fielder, Tommy Pham. Very good play to keep that in front.
Man. Cabrera just into the game, too. He's able to smother it.
Jeremy Hazelbaker would be the pinch hitter. He's on deck if Pham can reach. Full count. Three balls, 2 strikes, and Pham a strikeout, and the inning comes to a close. Seung Hwan Oh when we come back. we go. Top of the ninth. Always in the Cardinals closer. It's our Chevy call to the pen. His 75th appearance this year. You think about the groin injury he's been dealing with, the surface of the mound. Bouncing back after last night, in which he had to be taken out of the game.
It was doubtful he would be available for this game. This is good news.
So the first pitch to Cabrera, a switch hitting backup catcher. He is strike one. The 0-1. Now it's 0-2. Cabrera against O. 0 for 2. And a fly ball to center. Grichuk going back, and he missed it. He misses what should have been the first out here in the ninth inning. Oh my goodness. Of all time, of all kinds of times to misplay a ball, and it happens in one of the biggest innings of the year.
Oh my.
It is ruled a hit.
Well, I'm not sure about the scoring, but I know it's a ball that should definitely be caught, and O's going to have to go to work.
Now Peraza. Just watching Randall Grichuk, he was screaming at himself in center field. The second play that he'll tell you in this series he should have had. 1 ball and 1 strike. A rare show of emotion there by after the misplay by Randall Grichuk. 1 ball and 1 strike. Peraza with a couple of base hits, trying to bunt, and there's strike 2.
Again, a very different possibility going forward with no Joey Votto.
Without a doubt.
But still tough work for O with the leadoff runner at second base.
The 1-2. You can see how Brian Price played it. He gave Peraza, who's had a great year, 1 pitch to try to drive him in, move him over. Then with 1 strike, try to bunt. And now Peraza in the hole, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Defense has not been an issue for the Cardinals in this game until now.
Molina sets up outside, and the 1-2 pitch way outside.
Almost stunning, isn't it?
Really is. The 2-2 pitch. Struck him out. 1 away here in the ninth.
He ties up Peraza up and in. Climbs the ladder. Can't catch up to it. Good hop on that fastball from O. Well, you pick your teammate up. And it's a big pickup if he can get it done.
Hernan Iribarren is 0 for 4 tonight. Twice grounded out to second, also struck out. There's strike 1.
And Scott Schebler is in the on-deck circle to bat for Holt.
And it was Schebler who had the walk-off homer earlier this year against O. The 0-1 pitch. The outfield very shallow for the Cardinals. The gap in right center is wide open. The 1-1 pitch. Now 1-2. Can O pitch around the mishap by Grichuk in center and hold on for that young man.
A nail biter for all of us.
The 1-2 out of play. The 1-2. The 1-2 again. Ground ball hit to the right side. This should be out number 2, and it is. The tying run advancing to third. Our Budweiser player of the game. Tonight's starter for the Cardinals, Alex Reyes, 6 innings, 7 hits, gave up a run, walked 2, struck out 6, gave the Cardinals exactly what they needed. And so instead of being Joey Votto, it's Schebler with the game on the line. Pinch hitting for Holt.
We weren't sure exactly what he did, but in game 2 he tweaked his knee or something in his lower half that's kept him out, Schebler, but he can hit.
They're on their feet. 2 outs, runner at third. Ball 1. One ball, no strikes. The next by O. 1-1. The 1-1. The Reds now down to their final strike. Schebler trying to extend it. Reyes looking for a win. Grichuk looking for redemption. The 1-2 in the air, right side. Carpenter over and out of room. And we do it again.
Plenty of tension in this game. The final boss trying to be the final boss and wondering whether or not O is okay, as Mike Matheny and Eugene Koo are making that trip to the mound again that we saw here earlier in the series to make sure he's okay.
It's kind of a lighthearted moment in a tense, and I mean tense situation. Eugene sprinting out before Mike Matheny said go out there, and you could see them all smiling a little bit. Eugene Koo, one of the most intense translators in all of sports.
You have Eugene and Molina and Matheny and O trying to communicate at a critical moment in a critical game. Let's hope they got the message right.
Here we go. 1 ball, 2 strikes, tying run at third. Little number and an infield hit to tie this game. Schebler comes through. Cabrera scores, and we're tied at 3. It all started with this play by Grichuk, drifting back and off his glove, maybe just the tip of the glove.
Then a guy who can barely run gets a infield hit off the end of the bat. Man, oh man. Nothing wrong with the pitch from O. Barely hit off the end of his bat.
Josh Smith, a right-handed pitcher, is now your pinch runner. Still unfinished business here with Duvall. First pitch is hit out of play.
So no win for Reyes. And no half game in the wild card, at least at the moment. Very disappointing.
Here's the 0-1. Fouled back. And now you think about, if you don't win the game in the bottom of the 9th, what direction do you go with your bullpen?
There is not an easy answer to that. We saw Sokolovich up earlier. Maybe that's the best choice at the moment.
The 0-2 misses on the inside corner.
We talk a lot about Votto, but this guy at the plate is a big potential problem at the moment.
Here's a 1-2. Duvall with a double back in the second. He is struck out, flied out to left, and an RBI single. He's 2 for 6 against Seung-Hwan Oh. The Cardinals will have a pinch hitter, Carpenter and Grichuk, coming up. The 2-2 pitch. We start to worry a little bit about the effectiveness of O.
Right.
Lengthy night in game 3 and 25 pitches here in this inning. The 2-2. The crowd right now at Busch Stadium stunned. 1 strike away from pulling to within a half game of the San Francisco Giants. The 2-2. Struck him out. We head to the bottom of the ninth. The Cardinals need some late inning magic. So we're in the bottom of the ninth. The game is tied at 3-3. Jeremy Hazelbaker will be first up for the Cardinals. Cardinals fell behind 1-0. Then they tied it up on a Jed Jerko long home run. Alex Reyes picked up an RBI to make it 2-1. Yadier Molina, a home run, made it 3-1. The Reds have come back with 2 of their own. They were down to the final strike in the top of the ninth, trailing 3-2. So Wood is at 15 pitches, second inning of work.
And a pinch hit home run by Jeremy Hazelbaker would make everybody feel a little bit better. We know he's capable of that. He's done it. I think we again have to point out, Dan, that the Cardinals are 0 for 10 with runners in scoring position in this game.
0 for 8 last night. First pitch to Hazelbaker. Good cut. He has 4 home runs in the pinch this year. Now time is called. So the Reds trying to get a second inning out of Blake Wood. No balls and a strike on Hazelbaker. Little chopper hit to the right side. Took a funny hop off the lip of the grass. And there's one away. Brings in Carpenter. And the man on deck, you know, would love to atone for the misplay in the ninth.
Would he ever?
The top half. That's Randall Grichuk.
Would he ever? Dan, the rain at the moment no longer a factor. Bit of a light mist perhaps, but not like we had early in this game.
Ball 1 to Matt Carpenter. He doubled back in the 7th. That's one of those innings in which you look at runners in scoring position. Leadoff double, could not bring him in.
Couldn't get him over, couldn't get him in.
He struck out and also flied out. Here's a 1-0 pitch. 2-0. Well, the Rockies have jumped out to an early 1-0 lead over the Giants. 2 balls, no strikes. Carpenter pops it foul and out of play. Once again, the Cardinals back of San Francisco by 1 game in the wild card. After tonight, 3 to go. A must-win situation. The 2-1. 3-1. Pitch, and he draws a walk. The winning run is aboard, and look who's coming up.
If Randall Grichuk is able to plug a gap, hit a double, drive in Carpenter for the walk-off hit, there will be a lot of happy Cardinals, but he will be the happiest of them all.
It's now a 2-0 lead for the Rockies. 1 out, runner at first. Grichuk looks at a fastball outside.
You'd hate to see him be over anxious in a moment like this. You want redemption, but don't force it. See the baseball, drive it up the middle, see what happens.
1 ball, no strikes. Michael Lorenzen throwing in the pen for Cincinnati. Miguel Sokolovich getting loose. It looks like he would be the 10th inning option for St. Louis if we get there. Count is even. And the next to the Cardinals center fielder. Fastball and a strike at 96. We saw Wood earlier this year. He's got good stuff.
He does.
Very short lead at first. That's Carpenter, the winning run. 2-2. Yadier Molina waits on deck. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Randall Grichuk. Little tapper rolls foul.
Little tapper rolling fair. The key hit in this game. We'd be in our post game right now talking about a Cardinal victory, but Schebler was able to just get a piece of a pitch with down to their last strike. Little nubber down the third base line, stayed fair, nothing you could do about it.
And a good pitch.
It was. Deserved better. Reyes deserves a win.
Two and two the count. And the next to Randall Grichuk. In on his hands at 97 from Blake Wood. Well, you know that bench, that dugout ready to erupt and pulling for their teammate Randall Grichuk to atone. 2-2 the count. Seven pitches in this plate appearance by Grichuk. The 2-2 pitch. And a swing and a miss by Grichuk. Yadier Molina is homer tonight. That was a solo shot back in inning number 5. The chance of Yachty here at Busch Stadium, and that's ball 1. Reds will have Suarez, De Jesus, and the pitcher spot coming up. The 1-0. 2 balls, no strikes. Steven Piscotty at the on-deck circle.
Yachty has already thrilled our Spanish radio broadcast once. It'd be nice if he did it again.
Well, you want playoff baseball, you have it now. Guarding the line at third. The 2-0. Molina hits it out to deep left field. That ball is sinking. It will be a play at the plate and save! 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 I believe, though, that could be a ground rule double. I'm not sure. We have to wait and see. At this point, the umpires have not ruled it a ground rule double. They're walking off the field. The Cardinals are as well. And Yadier Molina comes through. It looked to be, to me, to the naked eye, a ground rule double.
Brian Price is looking for the umpires. He is going back underneath the stands to find the umpires. They looked over to him. I wonder if he ran out of time. They left the field. They looked over. There was no indication.
From that vantage point, it looks to be a ground rule double.
The Reds haven't left the field. The Cardinals have already celebrated. I don't know if the Reds actually contacted the umpires in time. There's an issue with this. We're already in our post-game interview, and the Reds don't believe they've lost this game yet. This is crazy. Cardinals, go in, get in the shower, hurry up.
Bizarre. I mean, by that vantage point, it looked to be a ground rule double, and to the naked eye, I thought it was for sure.
But when not called initially by our umpiring crew, the burden is on the Reds to challenge it. And did they do it in time with the umpires? I believe is a question. Brian Price came out of the dugout after conferring with some of his people and looked out and was surprised that he could not find an umpire to talk to. And he put his arms out, where are they? And then he started chasing him back down the tunnel where the umpire's dressing room is. This is bizarre, Danny.
This is a nightmare for Major League Baseball because you want replay, you want to get the plays right. This is why you have it, and it comes at one of the most important games of the entire Major League season.
You want to get it right, but you have to do it with the proper protocol. So
Brian Price waited. There was no one from the Reds that indicated, including the left fielder, saying it's a ground rule double. It hopped over the wall. No one did that until the umpires were off the field.
My opinion, but I think we're going to have to get a ruling on this, is they did it too late.
Now watch here. That, to me, clearly looks like a ground rule double. Agreed?
Yeah, that sign is beyond.
But watch the left fielder. He never made the indication and put his hands up to say it's a ground rule double. The play continued, and until Brian Price was informed by somebody that was not in uniform, coming in street clothes, to tell him it was a ground rule double. The umpires were already off the field. In one of the craziest finishes of the year, the Cardinals catch the ultimate break.
I wonder if they'll protest this. What an odd moment here at the ballpark. Some of the Reds still in their dugout. The Cardinals are gone. They're doing post-game interviews. They're in the shower. Their catcher is still in his gear in the Reds dugout, waiting for an explanation.
They have told the crowd here at Busch Stadium the game is over. That has been announced. They've announced that to the crowd. They're headed to the exits. The grounds crew is coming out to fix the field for tomorrow night and the Pirates.
Unbelievable.
4-3, the final. I can't believe we're saying this. Post-game show is next.